my name's Nick Best and I'm Managing Director here at Astranti and also the person who's recorded the tuition videos for the Operational Case Study exam. And it's a little sample from one of those videos that I've got for you here. Something I hope you find really useful. The examiner produces exam reports at the end of each sitting, and what I've done is I've taken 3 of those examiners' reports over the period of time, one 2015, one 16, one 17, to look at what the examiner wants you to do to pass and the biggest mistakes the students have been making and how you go about avoiding those mistakes. So I'll leave you with this little sample from that full video. There's really nothing like hearing from the examiner exactly what the examiner wants, and we have precisely that. At the end of each sitting, the examiner writes a report where they give all their thoughts. What have students done well, not so well, what could they be improving on, and that's what this video is going to focus upon. We're going to look at 3 reports. I'm going to look at one from 2015, one from 2016 and one from 2017, so we can see the evolution of the examiner's thinking over time. We can see where people were back in the first year that this exam was sat, and then we can see how people have improved and developed over time, and we can see how the examiner's views have changed over time as well. So let's get straight on then and take a look at the examiner's comments for the May 2015 session. Let's see what she's wanting people to do, where people have done well, what the key lessons for you are. So there's some general introduction in the first 2 sections before we get on to this point here. Okay? Candidates appear to be prepared for the fact that each section of the variant had its own time element, with the vast majority of candidates completing answers for each section. Little evidence of time pressure. So what is really good news is people actually looking at each of the different sections, planning the time for each section and keeping to those times. What's actually interesting to see is at the management case study and strategic case study level, we've got constantly the examiners there saying people still aren't managing their time, they're not getting the last part finished, and we've got the operational case study really at the start of people's studies, people actually getting that. Now it could be because of the content. These early stage case study questions are quite clear, quite focused on specific requirements, quite theoretical and technical in focus, and that changes to more analysis, more sort of high level strategic by the time you get to strategic level. So the nature of the questions may be affecting that. But very important for you is to plan your answers, and as part of that planning to focus on managing your time within each of the key sections. Nice to see in this particular exam people were doing well. The next section is all about application, and she says here it's nice to see some good attempts at applying knowledge to the scenario of baton bicycles. Better than the previous sitting. Okay, this was the second sitting ever of this exam that we're looking at here, and candidates who were able to link to the scenario to their answers generally scored well, and answers which simply reproduce knowledge without application scored few marks. There's a clear message to you here, which is it is application which is key. It's not just the theory, it's the theory combined with what that means for this company. That means that you must know the pre-scene well, you must have analysed the pre-scene, and you must have practiced doing this before you get into the exam. One thing I find people sometimes doing at the OCS level is really focusing a lot on theory. And look, yes, it is a theory exam. There's a lot of theory you need to know. And that is the biggest focus for this exam, yes. But if you haven't practiced taking a theory and applying that theory to this scenario, to this company, then in mock exams, also when you're doing your preparation of your scenario, baton bicycles with the one here, sort of be thinking about each of the theories in relation to that pre-scene as you go through doing your studies. If you haven't done that, you'll find it very difficult on the day to just start doing it on the day. So a lot of this is in the preparation. Do prepare well on your pre-scene. Do think about the key theories as they relate to that pre-scene before you get into the exam. And mock after mock after mock, really important, where you're practicing application, application, application. So it's interesting to see that business skills was good and people skills was good, okay, but technical skills was less good. So it's the technical side that people do need to practice and get strong at. I appreciate that E1, F1 and P1 is a lot. Now, our study text part 2 takes all of the theory that's in E1, P1 and F1 and breaks it down to a much shorter, focused set of material that's more likely to get examined. Because there's some types of theory which get examined more, some that get less, and that's a focused revision tool for you. So do focus on that more focused revision tool to get it all done in the time, because I do appreciate that there is a lot. Also remember there's no detailed calculations in the exam, and because of that, that means you can focus less on anything that's to do with calculations, more on understanding wider principles. Finally, there's some guidance on what the integration marks are available. Now look, there's only 3 marks available, but you never know, that 3 marks could be the difference between you passing and failing. So what is the examiner looking for? They're looking for commenting around a subject area, bringing other relevant information in from other subject areas or the syllabi. So it's about a broader answer that considers a wider strategic perspective, is another way of putting it. Okay? So that you might have a question that's just, say, an ease question, which considers, oh, maybe it's outsourcing or maybe it's to do with marketing, but then you bring in perhaps the financial aspects of that and what that means in terms of how we afford to be able to do that and how we might fund that through loans or debt finance or so on. So we're starting to bring in some F-type material and some finance material into it. And so it's that wider thinking and that wider knowledge that's going to get you those integration marks. Although in the end, it's only 3 marks, to be fair. So it's probably not going to be the difference between passing and failing for most, but you never know. An extra couple of integration marks might not harm you. Okay, so I'll leave that sample just there. So this video goes on to examine in more detail the examiner's comments and what it takes to pass, look at subsequent years to see how the examiner's view is changing, also focusing a lot more on some of the detail in the feedback on each of the different variants as well, so you can see exactly what you need to do to pass and what the examiner is saying you should and shouldn't be doing. This is of course part of a full tuition video series, around 10 hours of video for you to guide you, to show you what to do to pass, and that's part of our full course. The full course has got a whole range of resources for you to help you to get through the exam, online live masterclasses, the analysis of the actual case study itself. It's got the ethics pack, it's got the mock exams, it's got feedback on the mock exams, just a whole package designed to get you through the exam. So one way or the other, I hope that you'll either think that the tuition videos or the course are actually worth attending. Whatever you do decide to do, I wish you best of luck as you go forward towards your exams.